I am here at Stream with our gracious host, Martin Sorrell. Thank you for the...
I think you're a co-host, Thomas, actually, truth be known.
So, what I want to talk to you about is my obsession, which is social media.
Good obsession, Tom.
Is it belong in one agency, one discipline? And if not, how do you get it across all disciplines?
Well, I think we would be very silly. I think we both agree on this. That we're very silly to restrict it to one silo or one discipline. It permeates everything we do. So whether you're talking about social media in the context of a personal computer or mobile or video content, or the heart of it, the social networks that we know, Facebook, Twitter, etc. It really permeates everything. And I think there is a tendency to say, well, we'd like to concentrate it in one agency or one part of one agency.
Starting in PR or...
Yes, or whatever. Well, I do think that social networking is extremely powerful in the public relations context. I mean, if you said to me, which is the function of our business that's benefited most from social networking, or social networks, I would have said public relations. I mean, public relations used to be, sort of a bit sort of ephemeral or not particularly deep. There are two things that have changed PR. One is social networks, because that's about the power of editorial publicity. And the other thing is data and the analysis of data.
Getting word out and then being able to measure it.
Absolutely. And those two things have really, I think, revolutionized public relations and made it much more important. It's not, it used to be who you know. Now it's a question about what you know as well as who you know. But coming back to social networks and social marketing or social media, I think they should permeate everything that we do. And if I was running one of our operating companies, I would want to have that as an integral part of what I do, because I think it is one of the big growth areas. So just like you want to develop your business in Asia, where we're sitting at the moment, or in Latin America or Africa and the Middle East, or you want to get more involved in data and consumer insight, I think you really would want to make sure that social networks or social media were at the heart of what you did, and that every aspect of what you did embraced.
Is there a model for bringing that across an agency? And to preface that by saying just a few moments ago, you were saying how difficult it is for these large agencies to change. How do
Well, I think it is difficult for large agencies to change, and I think when you have smaller agencies that are sort of focused on social networks or social media, they can trumpet it. They can say, well, we spend 100% of our time on this. If you're in a big agency, it gets lost inside it. So that's the tactic that they would use. I would say you could make that argument, but the legacy agencies have legacy relationships and established relationships which give you the base on which to infuse or to inject an understanding of social media. So my own view is that the bigger agencies, the well-resourced ones that have long-term relationships and have got lots of experience, do have a spectacular advantage over smaller agencies. In fact, they have the reputation, they have the network
of the big client.
Yeah, usually they have the network, and the relationships, and of course the small startup agency wants that. They want the resources of the big agency, and of course the big agencies wants the nippiness and the
So how do you combine the two? Is this acquisition or merger?
Well, I mean, acquisitions are always very difficult things to do. I think if I was running an established agency, I'd want to build a social media practice into all I did. Not have as a separate silo, but try and permeate. So, in every account group, in all the creative groups, in all the media groups if they were included or separately, I would build it in as much as I could, and graft on acquisitions if I could. I mean, one of the biggest ways to get people to move forward is to graft on an acquisition. The trouble is often it gets left to one side or separated, and it's another separate silo. What I think you're doing with a legacy business is trying to make sure that it permeates in. So you hire good people, bring them in, give them positions of responsibility. You don't make them subordinates. That's another big issue, because usually what happens in the traditional agencies, as long as the traditional management structure stays in place, so you bring in all these new things, and of course these new people, they want to run things too. They don't want to be subordinates. And so I think it's difficult balancing act. So I think at the end of the day, in order to get the biggest traction you try and encourage your existing businesses to embrace it. If you have a social media agency, you continue to build that, and then you invest in social media technology to make sure that we're moving.
Does this mean that you maybe congregate teams around clients rather than through disciplines?
I think that's what you have to do ultimately, because I mean, if for example, our investment in Buddy Media, right, which is relatively small investment.
Buddy Media, and a company that helps people manage Facebooks at scale.
Yeah, 8 of the top 10 advertisers on Facebook go through Buddy Media, apparently now. I mean, you take that, that's a really exciting investment. It's galvanized a lot of our people and a lot of our clients, or a lot of our clients first, and then galvanized our people as a platform into Facebook. I mean, Facebook is the 3rd largest country on the planet. I don't know when it have to get to about 1.11 points, so have to double in size to become the 2nd largest. Will it overtake China, I guess, is the next question. But I think what's really interesting about our investment in Buddy Media is that clients have got excited about it, and therefore our people have got excited about it. It doesn't threaten anybody. It's a new sort of revenue stream, and they look to capitalize on it. So we can do some really exciting things and do them very quickly, actually, and move very quickly.
And as you said before, social media hits several of your obsessions for WPP.
Yes,
which is
it's Asia.
New markets.
It's new markets,
new
media and consumer insight and data. So I mean, it's very much to the front of what we're doing. So I mean, the issue from my point of view about social media is it's getting scale, but the potential is even bigger scale. I mean, having said that, Facebook is 500-600 million people, which is extraordinary.
It's moving to the level of a mass media.
That's right. That's right. Well, I mean, yes, at one level, because the problem is that it's very fragmented. So trying, because it is one-to-one communication, so it's mass, but it's very tailored. So trying to, but the other issue, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. I think the most interesting thing is whether we're going to continue to see these open networks, or whether...
Well, you mean Facebook will retreat into itself? And
no, not Facebook, but somebody will come up with, we were talking about it on the weekend, but when we invested in the Weinstein film fund, inexplicably we ended up with an investment in Small World, which is a restricted, limited... Now I just wonder, I was just thinking about it over the weekend actually, I just wonder whether at any point in time we go back to that. In other words, whether people will prefer a network
selected, filtered for them.
Yeah, rather than an open one. Because all the concerns about privacy, all the concerns about intrusiveness, particularly, the bigger Facebook gets, the worse that issue is going to be.
Which Facebook will probably obviously attempt to manage internally.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Facebook, maybe I would sort of start a restricted
exclusive
network.
area.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you.